When the CEO's high-tech solution turned into my biggest headache, by user zmorbuts123. I work as the lead tech support for a mid-sized company. Last week, I get an urgent email marked high priority from the CEO himself. You know the type: big ideas, big energy, and very minimal patience. The email reads: "We're upgrading security. I've ordered a state-of-the-art biometric system for all employee workstations. Make sure it's fully operational by Monday. This is critical for our new direction." All right, sounds good. I'm thinking fingerprint scanners, facial recognition, maybe even retinal scanning. He is a bit dramatic. Fast forward to Friday, and the system arrives. It's not a biometric scanner. It's a bunch of USB-powered fingerprint padlocks. You know, the ones meant for backpacks and gym lockers. Now, I'm staring at these things like, okay, what's the plan here? But nope, he's adamant, it's innovative. We're locking down cyber threats one station at a time. Monday morning rolls around. I spend the better part of my day explaining to people how to secure their keyboards with tiny padlocks. The piece de resistance? The locks kept dying because he ordered the cheapest version possible, so they only worked while plugged in. Employees started tying them to their chairs with strings so they don't lose them. By Tuesday, we had at least 3 people locked out of their desks and 1 person who broke the lock trying to reset it with a paperclip. The CEO? Completely unfazed. He thinks it's part of the learning curve and is now looking into voice-activated staplers as our next innovation. Anyway, how's your week going? Face with tears of joy. Do work for me, but make sure you don't document it, so that I won't have to explain it, by user automatic_mulberry. In the giant corporation I work for, a change request contains work units, and each work unit is assigned to a team and then a member of that team. The way it's supposed to work, of course, is that the change request is reviewed and approved by all the teams assigned to do work. In the, all too common, event that a change requires work that was not part of the original request, an additional ticket can be created and attached to the change, so that everything is documented. The catch here is that this requires further review after the change is complete. The people who wrote the change request are made to explain what happened, and to rework their processes to avoid adding work to changes midstream like this. It's intentionally kind of a pain in the ass to go through this additional review, to keep people from bypassing the whole review and approval process. Background. So the other day, I am working along, and I catch a ticket, in support of ongoing change number 867-5309, please confirm that this machine is online. I look up the change request by the number, and I see that my team does not have a work unit assigned to us. However, the work is so trivial and so low in risk, never zero, but a gnat's whisker away in this case, that I decide not to attach the ticket to the change. I check the machine, see that it's up and happy, report that fact, and close the ticket. Done and dusted, or so I thought. However, the ticketing system has been abused like this before, so there is apparently a filter that looks for change numbers in the ticket text, and automatically attaches them to the referenced changes. On my next workday, I had an angry email from the change requester. They wanted me to detach the ticket from the change request. It was apparently deeply inconvenient that they had to explain themselves to upper management about all this. Of course, they copied my boss and his boss and his boss, which runs me right out of political space to do as they ask. They've just told my senior boss that the policy was followed, so I can't possibly now break policy. I replied, sorry, I didn't attach the ticket to the change request. An automated process did, because you wrote in support of ongoing change number 867-5309, in the ticket. And anyway, that's how the policy works. If this is work related to your change, then it has to be documented as such. I think the attachment is correct by policy. Please feel free to check with my managers, whom you have already copied on this email thread, if you have additional discussion on the matter. I thought that would kill the issue stone dead, but they doubled down. Don't you know I have to explain this to the Change Review Council now? I was warming up my keyboard to reply when my boss did for me, I've reviewed this, and I agree that Otto is correct here. Any work related to a change should be included in the change request. I didn't hear back after that. That's not what I asked, by user old class 1259. A memory of a call supporting staff remotely during lockdown. Aside from generic daily basic hardware/login stuff, 90% of all our WFH-specific tickets fit into 3 issues: VPN, network stability, and microphone. So we had an informal troubleshooting script put together pretty quickly once the dust settled on the new normal. We even ended up with a WFH-specific troubleshooting questionnaire which I was reasonably successful at enforcing, saying don't even raise a ticket until you have this completed to include. Most communication was handled over Teams chat. One manager messaged me to ask me to call a user directly. A red flag in itself, but also the way they phrased the request raised further suspicions. They did provide a bit of background and some ticket history, ringing ever more alarm bells. The culture here does not encourage information sharing or an appreciation of detail. So while grateful for the chance to prepare, I'm on high alert. Me, hi, I hear you're having issues with your VPN. User, hi, it's not connecting just isn't work it in months it all started with it making that weird noisy and it one turn on and it says connection failed. My god, it's like talking to a human lobotomy pic. Obviously I'm not going to subject you readers to the same invasive brain procedure I endured, so let me translate at least into actual words, but imagine please how the conversation flowed. Start again. Me, hi, I hear you're having issues with your VPN. User, hi, yeah, it's not connecting, it hasn't worked in months, it all started with it making that weird noise and it won't turn on and it says connection failed. I interrupt this stream of consciousness, and understand why so much backstory had been passed to me in advance. Me, yes, I was able to check your ticket history. I understand you had a PC that didn't boot up and the fan was spinning up. I see we replaced this computer several months ago. So this new computer is having issues with the VPN. User, yeah, but that's when it started with the noise and it won't turn on. Me, what, the new computer won't turn on? User, yeah, the last one, and now it's saying connection failed and. Me, so your new computer does power on? User, it says connection failed and I can't get any work done. Me, okay, so new computer is working. Poor phrasing on my part. User, no. I just said it's not connecting. Me, in the sense that you are able to power it on and you can log into Windows. User, but it's not working. Me, you mentioned the power issues with the old computer. I'm just trying to clarify you don't have the same problem with the new computer. It was rare, but we did have replacement PCs sent out that also failed on arrival, so I wasn't being unnecessarily pedantic. User, it's not connecting. Me, but you don't have the power and noise problem with the new computer. I'll spare you a few repetitions of this. The story is long and enraging enough without an exact transcript. The user and I do manage to clarify that her new computer powers on, boots, logs into Windows. And yet. Me, so you should have been sent a questionnaire for troubleshooting. User, none of that worked. Me, it wasn't just a set of instructions, there were questions. I need the answers to those to investigate your issue. User, it says not connecting. Me, one of the questions asks what the error message says. Yes, there are other questions I need you to answer, like which ISP are you with? User, what's an ISP? Me, Internet Service Provider. User, what? Me, which company are you with for the internet? User, that shouldn't have anything to do with it. Me, we have a list of 4 providers that cause issues with our VPN, which one are you with? User, company, but I don't see what. Me, okay, that's not one of the problematic suppliers, so moving on. I attempt the script to troubleshoot further. Basic networking, link lights, browser to google.com, etc., but I don't get more than a quarter of the way through before we strike another language barrier between 2 native English speakers. User, I don't understand why we keep going over this, it won't connect and. Me, keep going over? Have you been contacted before for this? I've not been given this information from you yet. User, yeah, when it was all noisy and. Me, no, I mean for this particular issue, with the VPN. User, yes, since it didn't turn on and the fan was buzzing. Me, we already clarified that was the old PC, that has nothing to do with the new PC. Your replacement PC resets all the issues with the noisy fan and not turning on. User, no it doesn't, it's still not working. Me, but with a different problem. We're not talking about that now. The VPN. User, and the blank screen. Me, your monitor doesn't display. Dual monitor setup. Not impossible to report a faulty display and a VPN error message. User, yeah, it's just black. Me, okay, can you tell me if it's not showing anything, as in it isn't turned on, or it is powered on but is displaying a completely black screen? There should be a faint glow if so that will tell you it's outputting black, as opposed to outputting nothing at all. User, now it's working though. Me, both of them. User, yeah it is now but. Me, when did it stop working? User, when it was making the weird sound. Me, do you mean with the old computer? Look, please forget about the old computer, the noisy fan, it not turning on. That was the old computer. I don't need to know anything about the old computer. I only need to know about the new computer. Those problems were resolved. User, it's not resolved. I'm still having problems. Me, different problems, which I'm trying to help you with. User, no you're not. You're not listening to a word I'm saying and you keep interrupting me. Me, I'm afraid I must interrupt you. Yes, I empathize with your historic problems and your continuing issues preventing you from working. But I'm here to help you with the error you have now. Nothing else, please let's move on. Your VPN must have worked at least once or the computer wouldn't have been able to accept your password to log into Windows. Now you have this no connection error. When did this start? User, with the noisy fan. Me, no. No, no. Not the noise, not the fan, not the old computer. When did you first see the error message? User, I keep trying to tell you but you won't listen to me. Me, you're not giving me the relevant information I need to fix this for you. Please stop telling me your entire personal experience with IT faults. I need you to give me the information I'm asking for specifically. Bringing up the resolved problems is just confusing the matter. User, nothing has been resolved. The PC doesn't turn on, the screen is blank and it makes a weird noise and it says connection failed and. I consider interrupting again but I accept now this is not an IT issue, and beyond my scope. I'm bilingual, my other language has no direct parallel with the future tense in the English language. I hear some languages lack tenses completely and I'm fascinated by the concepts of grammar and conceptualization of the passage of time in such cultures. But that is a private interest, not one that pays bills. I'm not here to teach anyone how to describe the past, present and future when your name indicates you had the privilege of learning English as a first language, and I did not. I let her ramble on while I gather myself. Me, we're not going to be able to move forward with this if you don't listen to my questions and answer them. User, I don't think you are able to help me. Me, long pause, yes I agree, I won't be able to support you. I'll feed back to your line manager the issues we're having here and I'm sure they'll be in contact with you on next steps. Hangs up. I message the line manager with a reserved, professional outline of the situation. They message back immediately, are you available for a call? Still keeping myself very neutral, we discuss the call in more detail, but it's enough for line manager. I hear later the user is no longer with the company, after being transferred through 4 different departments and for one reason or another never being able to produce any effective work. Naming conventions are important, but the names within them can cause frustration. By user saw_Swiss. Many years ago I worked as a project manager for a company that built our own software as an extension of existing software. Within this role I had to deal with the developers, sharing the client vision as well as deal with the client, showing their vision in demonstrations. For this story it is important to note that the naming convention for our servers were based on their primary location. NE, Newcastle, Po, Portsmouth, RD, Richmond and so on. Late on a Thursday evening I asked a developer to release the latest version of our software to a test server. The server was called NE Test. The conversation went like this. Me, yes, please release the software on the NE Test server ready for validation tomorrow morning with the client. Developer, NE Test? Me, yes, NE Test. Developer, okay. The following morning I wanted to demo the software. I log on to the NE Test server only to find that the latest version of the software is not there. I reach out to the developer and I ask him where the release is that we discussed the previous evening. Developer, it is on Po Test. Me, but I asked for it to be on NE Test. Developer, yes, NE Test, so I chose Po. Only then did the penny drop for me. NE Test/NE Test. Not so much a tech support story, but a cautionary tale. God, I miss bureaucracy. By user want Debian. I open the ticket queue to a dozen tickets in the style of $customer/$user. Opening one pulls about 50 lines of key value information such as known bug on, false and joint type, SharePoint. None of the info looks immediately actionable, so I move on without taking any action. Rinse and repeat until the following morning when the owner of the 11-person MSP says we have new monitoring, they're the $customer/user tickets you've been seeing. Just work them like any other alert and gives no more information before crawling out a window. A week passes of only 1 or 2 people working these tickets and everyone asking but what do we do with them, that ownership finally agrees to gives us a 10-minute overview. All they're really doing is letting us know this person signed in outside the US. That's it. Who the user is and what country they signed in from are buried with the info that is useful only some of the time. So if you're glancing at the ticket you could miss what the alert means. Frustrating, but moving on. Something mentioned in this class is how to whitelist things. Some of our customers have overseas operations or staff, so this is useful knowledge. But only the owner has permission to do this. Several people over the following 2 weeks bring this up, but he never fixes it. Instead we work 1 to 2 dozen tickets per day for the one customer paying for this monitoring since they have half their staff outside the US. Marine, who has lived her whole life in France, opened a doc in SharePoint. Alert. Jose, who coordinates the company's Spanish language section from his office in Mexico City, checks his email on his phone. Alert. Ayanda, who is working on getting the company more business in Southern Africa from their home in Cape Town, sends a coworker a spreadsheet over OneDrive. Alert. Because these are almost entirely the same people from the same place triggering these alerts, it takes about 30 seconds to work the ticket. We bill a minimum of 15 minutes per ticket. Then the real fun comes. Marine has an alert out of the Netherlands. If you open Entra and look at her sign-in logs, she's only signed in from France. But, if you check the non-interactive logins you can see she sent a OneDrive link to someone in the Netherlands. Them opening the document triggered the alert. Or she opened Clippy Online, which doesn't have any servers in France, so it opened in the Netherlands, triggering an alert. Soon we get alerts that don't have a username. They come in as $customer/private or $customer/earn alphanumeric string I don't recognize. What do we do with these? Not a clue. The owner always closes them with no info the notes and hasn't answered my team's messages. Are you wondering why I don't check the documentation? It's cute you think there is any. This morning we get a ticket $customer/compliance alert. Instead of the issue being sign in from unapproved location the issue is compliance alert new domain forwarded. Does that mean an internal email is being set to forward to an external email? Does that mean someone added a new domain in exchange? Something else? Not a clue. I spent half an hour reading over every line in the ticket, opened up the alert in the portal, read over every line there, checked everything associated with the ticket and I could only find one new thing. It's a custom alert we created. I DM the owner. He's at a conference, but he gets back to me that he doesn't know what the alert means either. I feel like any amount of process would have prevented all of this.